All right. Well, as my beautiful wife said, we're recording, and that way we can use it for purposes of those that may have missed this great presentation and opportunity to get healthier. And that's what we're all about. My name is Dr. Timothy Quinn, and this is my wife, Miss Melissa Quinn.
Hey, how are y'all?
And she's here to assist me and make sure I'm not beating everybody up too bad, because at the end of the day, what we want to do is, number one, we do not, and I repeat, we do not want to discourage you. We want to encourage you and provide you with information to empower you so that you can find the success that you deserve. I keep letting people in because people are coming in a little bit late, and for those that came in a little later, this presentation is being recorded for purpose of using for people that may have missed it and they want to get that information. So we're going to start out with why, okay? Because this presentation is a 30-minute presentation, but we're going to allow some time for questions and answers. But there are three topics that we're going to cover in this first presentation. And the first topic is why. Why do you want to lose weight? I've been a family physician for 19 years. Oh my goodness, it seems like a very long time, but I'm actually on my anniversary. June 2003 is when I started my residence, completed my residency and started our practice right here at Quinn Healthcare. And we started here in Jackson, Mississippi. We're now in Ridgeland. But over the last 19 years, I've had a lot of patients that have come in, and their number one concern overwhelmingly for patients is, I want to lose weight. But I think it's so important that you understand the why as to why you should lose weight as opposed to everything else. And I'm going to demonstrate that with a case scenario of a patient that I will never, ever forget. For purposes of security, we're going to call her Mrs. Jones, okay? Now, Mrs. Jones came into the clinic approximately, let's just say 10 years ago. And she had diabetes that was very poorly controlled. She was on a lot of medications. She was on 2 forms of insulin. She was on blood pressure pills, about 4 pills, diabetic pills, and cholesterol pills. Kidneys were performing very poorly. She had everything was poorly controlled. And I was really trying very hard to help Mrs. Jones understand we got to get that weight down. But she just was not interested. She said, just fill my medicine and I'll be back in 3 months. And she would barely take her medicine. But the take home was she was not trying to lose weight. Well, one particular visit, she came into the clinic and she was so excited. And I was like, why are you so excited? Well, long story short, she was getting ready to go to her high school reunion of 20 years, okay? And she learned that one of her classmates that she was just in love with, he was recently divorced. And she showed me pictures from her yearbook, and he was a good looking guy, you know, had some muscles and stuff. And she said, Dr. Quinn, I am now ready to lose weight. Well, I felt like she didn't have the right motivation, but you know what? I'm going to take advantage of everything I can to help my patients. So basically, you know, we got on a program where she had to eat certain foods. You know, she got on the Q diet. You know, we'll talk about that in a later presentation. She started exercising every day, and she was journaling all this. She would have to turn it in. And then we just took a special case with her. She'd come every week and report, and she was losing weight. And over, I think it was like a 6-month period before the actual reunion, she went from a size 26 dress size all the way down to like a 16. I mean, she lost a lot of weight. But the other part to it was we were having to take away a lot of her medications. We had gotten off the insulin. Her A1C went from like 12 all the way down to like maybe 7, which is really good. And it was just such an exciting time. Well, long story short, it was time for the reunion. And she came to the clinic, and man, she was looking, her hair. I said, where'd you get that hair? Oh my God. It was, she said, it ain't my hair, but it looked good, don't it? And she slung her hair around. I was like, oh, girl. And she showed us pictures of all her clothes, me and my nurses, and we were so excited for her. Well, after reunion, we didn't hear from her. So we called, we were like, where's Mrs. Jones? Anyway, long story short, we finally got her on the phone and she agreed to come to the clinic. We were so excited, so she came to the clinic and I went in the room and the first thing she told me was, I'm a big fat loser. And I was like, why would you say that? She basically told us what happened. She went to the reunion. The guy, he didn't pay her any attention. And when she did finally talk to him, she said, look, I just thought we could, maybe go for lunch or something, maybe. And she said he just fell into crazy laughter. And she just left. She didn't even stay for the rest of the reunion. I said, well, the first thing I told her was, you're lucky. And she said, what do you mean? I said, because you avoided a big jerk. That's right, a big jerk. Because if that guy couldn't see the beautiful woman you are and the opportunity he would have to spend time with you and get to know you, that's his loss. And he was going to be a headache anyway. So the deal is, and I said, I want you to come over here. And I flipped up my computer and I showed her. Over the course of 6 months, we decreased her insulin. Then we got rid of one of them. The other one, we decreased it. We got rid of the second one. We decreased some of her diabetic meds. Her A1C just continued to get better. And she was only on one diabetic medication. We decreased her blood pressure medicine from 4 all the way down to 1. Blood pressure control better than ever. Her kidney function is better. Her liver enzymes are better. Her cholesterol is better. She feels better. She looks better. I told her, you are a winner. And I tell that story a lot because this is what we have to understand. When we want to get healthier, to a healthier weight, we have to have the right motivation. And the right motivation is not some jerk from high school or that big old sexy man or whatever, that sexy lady. The motivation is to get healthier because that was 10 years ago. And to this day, she's still healthy. She's more mobile. She's out there exercising. She's in good shape. But not only that, she'll be well for herself and her family for the next 50 years. And that's what we aim for. So that's lesson number 1, the right motivation. Okay, that's how you get started. You get your motivation. Now, lesson number 2. It's not your fault. And that's what I told a patient just 3 days ago. She was so upset because she came in, we talked about losing weight. We put her on the dietary program where she was going to eat healthy foods. We had an exercise program together for her. She left the office. She was like so excited. I'm always excited, man. I don't know. I got to calm down a little bit. But the bottom line, we were excited. Well, long story short, she came back a month later for her follow-up and she had gained a pound. And she was so upset because she couldn't understand, why is she not losing the weight and continue to lose weight. And she reported that we looked at her diary because she was keeping up with everything. The first week, she lost 2 pounds. Then the second week, she lost another 2 pounds. But the third week, she gained most of it back. And then by the time she got back, she had gained more than she was before, which is kind of rapid, but this is very common. Usually it's a more drawn out process where an individual gets on a better diet. They're motivated, they're losing weight, and they continue in about 3 to 6 months, they start leveling off. It's called plateauing. And then some people will continue to plateau and then some will gain some back. But like this patient and others, I let them know it's not your fault. There's a process in your body called metabolic adaptation. Y'all might want to jot that word down, metabolic adaptation, okay? And what metabolic adaptation is it's a process that your body goes through. It's an adaptation where it's a survival adaptation. And the reason for this metabolic adaptation It stems all the way back to our primitive days, back in the caveman days, okay? When we weren't such global thinkers, meaning that we kind of lived in the moment. So if we were losing weight, our bodies were designed with hormones and our neurological system to release impulses in our blood and in our brainstem to make us hungrier. It works at the level of your hypothalamus. So there's certain hormones in your body, such as, it's called ghrelin, okay? It's released from your stomach. And when you don't get a lot of food and you start losing weight, ghrelin goes up. And then there are other hormones to include leptin that's released from your muscles that go down. These are autoregulators. And what it does is it makes it so you're hungry. So if you're back in the primitive days, back in the, I call it the caveman days, you'll become hungrier and you'll be more aggressive and you'll get out there and hunt and get that food and get the food you need, or you'll move to another area where food is more plentiful. It's a way that our creator has made it so that we have a better chance of survival. There are a lot of these hormones that are released in our blood that we're not cognitively aware of. Another example is, like me, I'm a brother, you know, I'm one of the brothers. But if I work outdoors all summer with maybe a muscle shirt on, you know, paving the concrete, then my skin will become darker. I don't think to myself, skin, get darker. No, it just happens. It's part of your autonomic nervous system and hormonal system. It's a regulatory system that makes it so that the hormones in your body are released to cause you to have more melanin in your skin, so your skin will be darker, so you'll have less of a chance of skin cancer. It's the way your body copes to stay alive. So let's go back to someone trying to lose weight. So they're doing all the right things. They're eating healthy, they're exercising, and they're losing weight. But those hormonal regulators are starting to release inside of their bodies. So what happens is the leptin, the ghrelin, the autonomic nervous system, it feeds back to the hypothalamus, and now they're hungry as heck. So what can you do, right? What can you do? Dr. Quinn, you're telling us we're doomed. There's nothing we can do, right? Well, what you can do is, first of all, be aware. Be aware that your body is going to work against you eventually. So what you have to do is you have to just stick to it, stick to it, stick to it, stick to it. And what happens is, over time, you know, you can fight it, but there are some cases where individuals might go visit their medical doctor, and there are medications out there that can stop that autoregulatory system. But we'll go into that in another lecture. Today is just a preview lecture. But the main thing is, and I'm gonna turn it around to my wife, because she'll tell you, she has to get on me because she's always around the clinic. She's everything for the clinic. She does the payroll, the employees, she's operations. And sometimes she'll cruise by a room and she says, Tim, don't beat them up. So the main thing is, don't beat them up, and give them a little feedback about how it's okay to fall off, get back on, and what you tell them.
Honestly, keep it 80-20. So 80% of the time, eat healthy. 20% of the time, do your carbs, do your dessert. Recently, we went to New Orleans for our anniversary. We ate bad the entire weekend. we ate bad the entire weekend.
She's had a couple of drinks.
But the morning that we left, we started off healthy. We worked out. I got on the Peloton at the gym.
They had a gym.
There was a gym. Peloton. There was a hotel in the gym. We ate healthy for the remainder of the final that we arrived back home. So say we go out of town, we cheat. We eat whatever we want. But what do we go out of town? Like once every 2 or 3 months? So that's when we have our fun. But normally we eat very healthy. So in the mornings I'll have 2 scrambled eggs. He'll have 3 eggs over easy. And then we'll do either veggie bacon or veggie sausage from the brand Morningstar Farms. They do a lot of like plant-based.
Very low calories, very low fat. Not super tasty, but it's okay. Put some hot sauce on there.
for lunch, I'll do like a lot of soups. He'll do like a veggie burger with a wrap and not like the burger bun. So that cuts calories. You can do a carb light wrap, and that's really good. And then for dinner, I found fun ways to make avoiding carbs better. So we found at Costco, they have a cauliflower stir fry that I love. But what I did was I cracked an egg in it so I could make it kind of like hibachi rice. And then we do the cauliflower wings. I put it in barbecue sauce, and we do a veggie all the time. So I make being healthy fun, and we work out about 5 or 6 days a week. Tim would rather it be 7 days a week. I'm gonna give you 5 or 6 and live in reality.
And that's why I wanted to bring Melissa in, because Melissa is she keeps it real, and keeps it realistic. And that's so important, because a lot of people that choose to start a healthier lifestyle, they choose to say, hey, I'm going to start exercising, I'm going to start eating healthy. They think that it's all like 100%. And what happens is, if you're a human being, even, anybody that's a person, you're not going to be perfect. It's impossible. And it's okay. It is okay. And I just want to leave that with you all, because number one, your body is already working against you. And what happens is, when that metabolic adaptation kicks in and you plateau and you eat something that you would not eat on your new perfect life, don't quit. That's the thing. Don't quit. Stay persistent. And over time, you can beat it. You can beat it. And you can just start back going down. But as I said before, it's easier said than done. But we do want to put it out there that you have to understand you don't have to be perfect. But in one of our future lectures, we're going to go over more specifics on the diet. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I just had one more thing. With your exercise, so we have a Peloton, and I like my music to be good when I work out. If you can make it fun, you'll do more. I don't like doing anything that's not fun. I'm just going to be honest. If it's not fun, I don't want to do it. You're going to lose my attention. So I try to find every kind of way to make it fun or make healthy food taste good. Because the thing is, if you're engaged, you'll stick with it. It's just natural. And just honestly, that's the only way I can do it. But I can stick with it. If the music is good, if I have a fun instructor, I'll stay on that bike for an hour. And I will give you 5 or 6 days a week. If I have somebody boring, maybe not.
But no, that's true. That's true. And ironically, I just had a conversation with a patient in the hallway. She's going walking every day. And I asked her, I said, I want you to walk from one end of the hall all the way to the door and back. And she walked, but she was walking kind of slow. And then I said, let's do a little experiment. I asked her, I said, what kind of music do you like? And she said, I like gospel music. I said, okay. So I went in my title, which is a streaming music, and I pulled up these young ladies. Hold on, let me go to it. Wait, that's not it.
You need some fast music. It's like you're looking through a telescope.
And then we walked together, and while we were walking, we were doing like that. I said, move your arms, move your arms. And then she did. And we walked all the way to the end and back. We were doing like that. Okay, I got a little carried away. But the bottom line is, when we did it, when we got to the back to where we started, I asked her, I said, now let me feel your heart. And it was beating fast. And I said, you're breathing a little hard too. And she said, I am. I asked her, I said, do you normally feel this way when you walk, other than now? And she said, no. She said, normally when I walk, I meditate, I think about it. And I said, that's good. That's good. But I said, what if you did it like this? Wait, I gotta hear that. That's some good music. Come on, man, where you at?
You want to put me on the spot.
But the bottom line is having that music, making it, like my wife said. My wife, she's younger than me. I'm so lucky. But the thing is, she makes it fun. And when you make it fun, then there's a higher probability that you will gain a higher level of success. Because what we have to remember is what we put in is what we're going to get out. And I compare it to when I was in medical school. If you go to the library and you studying, you're there, but you're kind of halfway studying, you're there talking to somebody, You know, I'm glad we didn't have Facebook and Instagram back then,
Right.
but you would be on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. I don't know if y'all have TikTok, but the bottom line is if you go in that library and you just put everything you have into it, then you'll have a better chance at passing those tests. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hit our last topic, and then we're going to open it up to questions and answers. Our last topic for our first presentation is support. I cannot overemphasize. During the coronavirus pandemic, my wife can tell you I got very depressed, very depressed. I was so sad
going on in that
because I didn't have anywhere, because I'm like a workout guy. I'm like a gym rat. Like if we go somewhere, they're like, hey man, what gym you at? That's my thing. I'm like a gym guy. And I didn't have a workout facility because the gym was closed. Oh, I used to just drive by and just sit in the parking lot. But the deal is we purchased a lot of gym equipment in our home, including the Peloton. And basically with the gym equipment, in the home, I work out, and my wife, she works out with me, but she doesn't really do a whole lot of the weights. But I never gave up my gym membership, and it's a little bit costly because I go to a kind of expensive gym. And somebody said, well, why do you still go to the gym if you have all the equipment at home? But I had a conversation with a patient just yesterday. And I asked her, I said, you know, I see you at church sometimes because she goes to church where I go when I go. And I asked her, I said, well, you know, during the pandemic, you can just watch church on Zoom or you can watch it on television. Why do you go? I mean, what's the point? And she said, Dr. Quinn, when I need to feel the spirit, when I need to really feel it, and I go there with all my brothers and sisters and pastors preaching and everybody's together and we get up and sing together. She said, I'm so much more fulfilled. I get so much more out of it. It's the same thing with exercise. Because the thing is, when you're trying to get healthy and you're exercising, you know, you go to the gym. Hey man, how you doing? You're there working out, they're working out, everybody's together. You talk about working out. It becomes like a societal thing, but also with diet. Because when you're eating healthy, and then my wife, she eats healthy. Like when we got married, and it was 3 years ago yesterday, we had our anniversary. We just got back from, that's why we went to New Orleans. So we cheated, we had to celebrate. But the thing is, when she eats healthy, I eat healthy. Like for instance, she does not eat carbohydrates. You know, that's like your rice, your potatoes and all this, you know, because she doesn't eat carbohydrates. I just stopped eating because we're together. And psychologically, it's been demonstrated through clinical trials that the people you're around, you're going to adapt some of the things they do. If they smoke, there's a higher probability that you'll smoke. But the deal is you want to get your support system together. And if you're married or have a significant person in your life, or maybe you live with your family, like your mother or somebody, if you can get them to buy in, then you have a much higher chance of success. So with all that being said, try to get people around you that are doing what you're doing. Like when I went to medical school, now I'm gonna be honest, when I first got there, I was young, I was 23 years old, and I'm in a fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha. I don't know if we got, I don't know if we have some fraternity people, but I still remember all those 10,000 years ago. But when I first got to medical school, I was hanging out with fraternity brothers at the nearby college at Vanderbilt. Oh, I see a ski. Okay, I see one of my AKA sisters just commented. But I was hanging out with all these guys that were not in medical school. They were at Vanderbilt, TSU, and Fisk. These are 3 universities in the proximity of my medical school, Meharry, in Nashville, Tennessee. And when I met with my counselor early on, you know, they let me know my grades weren't good. And they asked about my habits. And I explained, you know, I would hang out with my fraternity brothers. They said, you need to try to hang out with the medical students more. And when I started spending more time with people that were trying to do what I was trying to do, I found a great deal more success in you know, being a medical student. And God bless me, I'm a doctor today. So that's just another tip. But I hope that this presentation has been helpful to everyone. We want to open it up to questions and answers. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a series. The frequency, it has not been yet determined, maybe once a month, where we'll come in and just provide some tips with some information that can be very helpful. And like I said, number one, we don't want to discourage, we want to encourage, and we want to empower with information and knowledge. Now, before I open it up to questions, just want to remind that this is being recorded, and it's being recorded for the purpose so that we can use it later for other people that want this instruction. So we're going to turn it up, and I'm going to turn it over. Question for me or my beautiful wife, Miss Melissa.
Hello, I have a quick question. So I notated, I'm trying to find more innovative and healthier meals. And I notated you stated it was a cauliflower stir fry that that's at Costco, you say?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what's the sodium in that? And you also indicated soups that you eat for lunch. What about the sodium? Because I'm really trying to look for healthy choices, but I have to monitor the sodium.
I can answer.
You can answer? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know the specific sodium count. I didn't really record that, but what I can tell you is it's to your advantage to try to keep your sodium down. And a good rule of thumb is try not to do soups that are canned, because you have to think about it. The reason they can the soup and they put the more sodium is for it to be able to be stored for longer periods of time, years in some cases. So what Melissa does, I noticed, is she normally gets the soups that are made like at you get them from Whole Foods.
Oh yeah.
Where they're not in a can, but it's like soup that they put in a container.
Oh, in Fresh Market.
Fresh Market, that's what I was trying to say.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we don't do a lot of canned soups, but just watch the sodium. But just understand now, another thing that we do is we pretty much only drink water with every meal. That would help to dilute if we had a little more sodium in our food. But I'm going to tell you something. If you go to McDonald's and you get a hamburger, French fries, and a berry, there's going to be a lot more sodium than anything you could probably buy.
Right.
So it's kind of like a juggling act, but just try to stick to the fresher foods if possible.
Okay, and so I am gonna go try that cauliflower stir fry, and I hear about people give me suggestions on things. I get so discouraged because I'm always looking at the sodium intake. So it is kind of challenging, but I'm gonna try this in the soups at Whole Foods. Can you recommend what type soups, Miss Melissa, that you what flavors you like?
I know I'm not a big carb person, but I love my cheese. So I do like broccoli and cheese soup. I love tomato basil soup. And we'll do vegetable soup sometimes. And sometimes they'll do a was it a Thai chicken?
Yeah, Thai chicken. It's like there's like a refrigerator at Fresh Market. I was saying Whole Foods, I meant Fresh Market. It's in Ridgeland in the Renaissance. That's near our home. Okay. But the main thing is I would worry about the sodium, especially if you have high blood pressure. But if your blood pressure is fairly well, I would focus more on the calories.
Calories, okay.
That's where you're gonna really get your biggest bang for the buck on weight loss. And as I said, this is going to be continuous unless they fire us. And we're going to have more specific classes on specific topics coming in the future.
Okay. Thank y'all so much.
Overview.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, I'm Erica Hunter. I had a question as well. Since having COVID, I had COVID in 2020 and 21, but since then I have developed high blood pressure and they have put me on a blood pressure medication. I really do want to come off of it, but sodium is another thing that I'm very watchful for, and I have gotten back into the gym working out every day. Do you have any other recommendations that could help me possibly get off this high blood pressure pill?
Well, the number one thing with hypertension, now note it's multifactorial, meaning multiple factors contribute if you need high blood pressure medicine. It's almost like you have to remember that your genetics do play a part. Now, for some people, they can beat it. If they get to a healthier weight, I don't know your weight, I don't know your current activity level, But wherever you are right now, just do everything you can to, number one, increase your activity level. Meaning, if you exercise 1 day a week or 3 days a week, you want to go to more days a week. If it was up to me to be 7, but as my wife said, she's like, I'm not doing 17, but that's fine. Just do more than what you're doing right now. Also, you can note if you do exercise for a shorter period of time, you can add 15 minutes onto what you're already doing. And as far as your diet, you want to keep your sodium down, but also keeping your calories down. That's very helpful as well. So, like I said, we're going to go into some really specific topics, but our time is up. But what I'm going to ask you all is to consider, contacting your human resources, um, contacting Ms. Becky, um, that works with the Centene, and just want to note that we've been very thankful for the opportunity to be providers for Centene. We see children with Medicaid who might have Magnolia Medicaid. We've been very blessed to provide service to them. We've also participants with Ambetter. That's one of you all packages as well for people that have the Obamacare. Ambetter is the one you all have, and we service a lot of those patients. And then for our seniors, All Well, that's one of you all's packages as well that we service. And we just appreciate the opportunity. Y'all give us a good email to the individuals that sent you the who sent Becky Martin.
Becky Martin.
Yeah, Becky Martin. And thank you so much. And look, we're gonna put the music on while we're coming out, because we gotta have our music like we're a TV show. All right, everybody dance with me. Come on, let's say where you at. Hey. All right, thank you so much, and y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
All right.